Why is restorative justice controversial in severe crimes? Imagine a world where offenders and victims sit down face to face to talk about the harm caused. Restorative justice offers this chance, but it also sparks big debates. When it comes to serious crimes like violence or sexual assault, many question if this approach really works. The core issue is balancing the goals of helping victims heal, holding offenders accountable, and keeping communities safe. Restorative justice is based on indigenous peacemaking traditions that focus on repairing harm through dialogue and community involvement. But because there are no strict rules nationwide, judges and prosecutors have wide discretion. This means some programs labeled as restorative justice don't follow the same principles, leading to confusion about what it truly involves. One of the biggest worries is victim safety. Critics say that in serious cases, victims might be forced into conversations with offenders who could still pose a threat. Victims often feel they are at a disadvantage because offenders usually hold more power in these talks. There's also concern that victims are asked to help offenders recover, which can feel like they are being asked to forgive or forget their pain. Many professionals worry that dialogue-based processes might not protect victims from further harm, especially in cases of sexual violence or abuse where trauma is ongoing. They ask if these processes can truly ensure safety when offenders have shown they can commit serious violence. Implementing restorative justice in severe crimes is tricky. Some professionals worry too much about the risks, so they avoid it altogether. Others fear that restorative practices might do more harm than good if not handled carefully. For example, cases involving domestic violence or sexual assault are especially hard because of power imbalances and trauma. These cases need special safeguards that standard restorative justice might not provide. Critics also point out that sometimes restorative programs focus more on community and offender needs than on the victim's healing. This can make victims feel ignored or marginalized, especially if victim support services are cut back to fund restorative efforts. Another concern is legal protections. During restorative sessions, people might say things that could later be used against them in court. Without clear rules, victims and offenders might hesitate to speak honestly, fearing their words could be turned into evidence. This makes it harder to trust the process and can even increase the chance of offenders being sent back to prison. When it comes to serious crimes, the question is whether restorative justice can really deliver justice and safety. The evidence on whether it reduces repeat offenses for violent crimes is still limited. Many criminologists wonder if these approaches can handle the complex trauma and risks involved in serious violence. Finally, there's the issue of fairness. Restorative justice programs often target minor offenses or first-time offenders, leaving serious crimes out. This can lead to a kind of net widening, where more people get caught up in restorative efforts that might not be suitable for their case. It also raises questions about racial disparities. Since Black, Indigenous, and people of color are often overrepresented in the criminal justice system, critics worry that restorative justice might not be applied equally. Instead, it could reinforce existing inequalities if not carefully managed. All these points show that the debate over restorative justice in severe crimes is really about finding the right balance. Can healing and community restoration happen alongside victim protection and offender accountability? That's the big question.